Talk therapy doesn't heal. All of those systems need to go. They don't heal you. These systems create nothing but trauma. And then they don't have anything set up to heal the trauma. They have systems set up to keep you trapped in trauma where they make money off of your trauma. No matter what has happened, no matter what is happening, and even when it is no longer happening, trauma doesn't just leave your body. You have to put the work in to heal trauma, and that's not talk therapy. Talk therapy actually anchors it and doesn't allow it to leave. When you learn higher levels of energetics, you understand. We teach that to you. We teach you and make you understand what is really happening, what is not happening, and why. Because we come from a psychotic, patriarchal society of severance consciousness where everything is separated into different pieces, completely segregated. Nobody gets holistic healing, true holistic healing. It doesn't fucking exist. It's starting to, but it has not existed because patriarchal systems made sure none of this shit existed. So all of you are a physical body, you are an emotional body, you are a mental body, you are a spiritual body. You're a divine, formless being, a soul having a human experience. You are a multi-dimensional, multi-level, multi-layered being. And you need a multi-layered, multi-level approach to healing everything. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, beautiful souls and revolutionaries. Let's go, powerful beings. It's time to dive in and understand a deeper level of trauma and why talk therapy does not ever, ever, ever actually heal trauma. We're going to go over what does actually heal trauma, but why people get so stuck with their PTSD, depression, anxiety, etc. And I'm going to review with you today what happens when you are exposed to long-term stressful scenarios, especially if you're with like a narcissistic abuser, effects of PTSD. And what I mean by that, I'm going to explain this a little later. Not just, military, somebody in the military going to war, coming home with PTSD. Why can he or she not properly heal? Why are they put on anti-anxiety meds and go to therapy for the rest of their freaking lives if they have the ability to do that? Why is that the case? Why, when you've been exposed to psychological, verbal, mental abuse or physical abuse or worse when you're young, um, why does that affect you so severely now in your relationships, in the way that you move through the world, in the way that your physical body takes on these patterns that create other problems? It's a domino effect of physical problems. So let's really understand this. And I want you to understand this because right now the world is crazy. The United States has turned into a Nazi America. Things keep getting worse. And it's very traumatic for people. People in places where war is going on, genocide has been happening for how long? There is a tremendous amount of trauma, spiritual, psychological, mental, emotional, physical, sexual trauma that is happening. Every type of trauma that exists is happening to people in, various degrees all over the world. I want to see all of patriarchy completely fucking destroyed, obliterated, and gone. All of those systems need to fucking go. They don't heal you. Talk therapy doesn't fucking heal. These systems create nothing but trauma. And then they don't have anything set up to heal the trauma. They have systems set up to keep you trapped in trauma where they make money off of your trauma. I mean, that's our system of fucking patriarchy in a nutshell. As many of you know, I'm founder and CEO of Masters of Self University. It's a metaphysical university based on the foundations. Our foundational framework is based on the teachings of oneness consciousness and the 20 universal ways of oneness. Now, I'm sharing this. This is important. Stay with me. This has everything to do with what heals trauma and what doesn't. So stay with me. This isn't just me promoting what I do or my business. It's not what I'm doing right now. Okay. So I want you to understand that as a metaphysical university, what we teach is how to alchemize energy, quantum energetics. We learn at higher and higher and higher and higher levels. We take people through massive levels of healing, but we teach them how to do it themselves. And we do a lot more than that, but that's just part of what we do. So I'm sharing this for a reason, because those of you listening to this, to understand that just seeking support or having somebody listen to you or talking to a friend or going to a therapist, traditional therapy doesn't heal trauma. Hello, how long have you been going? How many, and I'll use this example, and they're not the only examples, but people can understand this example, so that's why I use it. It's easy to understand. How many veterans commit suicide? How many veterans are homeless on the streets because they can't hold a job when they get home? Their PTSD, their depression, their anxiety, everything is so severe, they can't function well in a healthy, vibrant, thriving way after what they've experienced, right? So and that's just one example. But again, I use that one example because it's easy to understand. And you've seen it. Even if you don't personally know veterans, you know of the chat, at least to some degree, you know of these challenges. You know, at least to some degree, you know, some statistics about how many veterans like kill themselves, right? So I use this for a reason, because talk therapy doesn't fucking heal trauma. And what happens is, now here's the key. So here's the first key. When you are unsafe and you are exposed to frightening, scary, unsafe scenarios, people, environments, ongoing for a long period of time, your physical body completely changes. Your nervous system completely changes. It adapts to being unsafe, and it now experiences people in the world around you as very unsafe. That's intelligence. You are a multi-dimensional being. That isn't fucking, you know, in relationship. Oh, Jesus, this shit's got to go. In romantic relationships, can't you just get over it? That was a long time ago. No, because the physical body, that's our nervous systems aren't functioning that way. We're multi-dimensional beings. We have multi-layered consciousnesses, plural, that function as this one being. So no, if you're critical and you're narcissistic and you're mean and you flip out and you're scary because of your emotional fucking reactions, no, there's no such thing as getting over that. It isn't holding a grudge. That's not what we're talking about. It's you have conditioned my body to feel so fucking unsafe when you're around, it can't relax. And there is a trauma response simply being anywhere fucking near you. Rewind and listen to what I just said again. So if you live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of violence going on, if you're a veteran, if you've been in those types of scenarios, if you're in an abusive relationship, if you're with a narcissistic abuser, if you're with somebody who criticizes you and puts you down all the time, if you're with somebody in a romantic relationship that is, you know, misogynistic, whether they fucking know it or not, but they objectify you, they expect sex. That's objectification, which is dehumanization. Other people's bodies are not your fucking toy. Nobody's a toy for you to play with in order for you to fucking have an orgasm. That treating people like this, because we're so fucking low in our level of consciousness, we're so unhealed, treating people like this, what it creates over time is the nervous system response, the physical body's response, the fascia's response. You are unsafe. You make me uncomfortable. You use me. You objectify. You dehumanize. You are not a safe, loving, nurturing person, man or woman. Do you understand? So, what happens over time, whatever kind of traumas you've had, those micro traumas all the time in your relationships or in your childhood or both, massive trauma, you've had massive terrible things happen to you, you've had sustained, longevity with a significant amount of trauma. I use the veterans and going to war for as examples of that. Whatever the scenario is for you, talk therapy doesn't heal the physical body's response to trauma. Okay. So part of what has to happen is when people feel so unsafe to even just walk the streets, like what we're seeing with ICE and our sadistic, lunatic, psychopathic fucking, people in government deploying other, MAGA, racist, sexist, violent, motherfucking lunatics all over the place to snatch people up off the street. So what's happening is that creates that fear, that lack of safety that you feel, which, by the way, hi, welcome to how women feel every day of their fucking lives, by the way. The collective is getting a dose of how women have to move through the world and how they've had to move through the world for literally centuries. This is what it feels like to women. Now everybody's getting a taste of what it feels like, holy shit, I don't know if I can go run errands and come back and be safe and not be snatched up. Well, yeah, welcome to being a fucking woman. Do you get it yet? Is it registering yet? This is how women have been treated forever. Nobody gives a fuck that the statistics of women and children being trafficked. Nobody cares. Now that everybody's being treated like this, most everybody, obviously not white men aren't being treated like this, but most everybody's being treated like this. There's fear. And it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be safe going to the grocery store or not. I have to run an errand. I want to go to the farmer's market. I don't know if I'm going to be pulled over, beaten up, ripped out of my car, snatched up, taken somewhere. I want you to understand, this is what it feels like to simply be a fucking woman in this world. Are you getting it yet? Are you ready to rise up and put an end to it now that you're affected too? Women have been screaming this shit for centuries. Nobody wants to fucking listen because they don't give a fuck about women. Now that everybody's getting snatched up, beaten up, kids out of high school, shit beat out of them, treated like trash. Now that this is happening to more people, do you understand the severity of having sadistic, psychopathic, narcissistic, misogynistic, racist Nazis all over the fucking world treating humans like this? We have monsters in leadership positions, and we have to put an end to it. I've given a lot of content, provided a lot of content that we need to put an end to this. I hope you're waking up every time you hear me talk about what is really fucking going on, to the severity that it is going on, and it needs to end, and we have to end it. But the main education that I want to offer in this particular episode is, we could end this. Let's say we end this by next week. Let's wave a magic wand. We all come together. We overthrow. Everything is overthrown. We dismantle and destroy fucking everything. Let's just pretend, play a little fantasy game right now. That doesn't, just because it ends, that doesn't in itself heal the trauma that all of this has caused everyone, especially those directly affected, the ones getting detained, the shit beat out of them, the ones murdered in cold blood by these lunatics. The trauma, the fear, and here's what I want you to comprehend. Even if you're not somebody that's been pulled over, snatched out of your home, snatched out of your car, beaten up, raped, detained, whatever, even if you're not somebody who's experienced that, you secondarily experience the trauma of everybody else's trauma. And you also have the fear of, holy shit, I don't even know if I'm safe leaving my house. And here's what's even more psychotic, because of course things keep getting worse. You don't know if you're safe inside of your own fucking home. You could hunker down, live in your home, not leave your damn house, decide you're not leaving until all this is over. And you're still not safe. The way that they're changing the Fourth Amendment, and they're not abiding by it anyway, but they're actually trying to change it so that any US, citizens, any property within 100 miles of the border, they don't need to follow warrants or the Fourth Amendment in any way, shape, or form. They can just come into your house and do whatever the fuck they want. Okay. So, and I'm not here to encourage living in fear, alchemize that shit. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help you to actually stay in a sustained state of fear. How do you do that? Those of you who know me very well and know Masters of Self University, you already know how to do that. Keep doing it. Do it more. Raise your frequency. Okay. Anybody else, if you're new to this, go to mastersofselfuniversity.com. Check it out. Okay. Because we teach you all of this, and we teach you all of this. So just know that you have a resource. Now, what I want to go back to is, because of all of this going on, wherever you are in the world, to whatever severity, you could be in a place where you're experiencing the horrific genocide that continues to go on, and wars and everywhere. Even if we put an end to everything across the whole world, we dismantled everything, destroyed it all, and next week we're building our new world and our new societies of oneness, you have to understand something. This is absolutely critical for you. That no matter what has happened, no matter what is happening, and even when it is no longer happening, trauma doesn't just leave your body. You have to put the work in to heal trauma, and that's not fucking talk therapy. Talk therapy actually anchors it in and doesn't allow it to leave. When you learn higher levels of energetics, you understand. We teach that to you. We teach you and make you understand what is really happening, what is not happening, and why. Okay. So simply talking about it actually anchors it in, doesn't allow it to leave. Okay. So there's methods and practices that we teach people how to work with energy on a different level. But here's the other part of that. The physical body has to be treated as well. The physical body has to be treated as well. In order for the physical body, it has its own consciousness, and it needs to be treated in certain ways in order for the physical body's consciousness, the fascia's consciousness, to feel safe enough to not hold constrictive, protective, defensive patterns, tight, rigid patterns. So physical rigidity sets in and slowly destroys your body over time. And you can be completely emotionally healed, and the physical body will continue to do that. And once you're pulled crooked, out of sorts, out of alignment, that's a domino effect over time. Every time you move and exercise and work out, it doesn't matter how healthy you are, that doesn't fix that. Do you understand? There's several levels to what healing actually is and means. And because we come from a fucked up, psychotic, patriarchal society of severance consciousness, where everything is separated into different pieces, completely segregated, nobody gets holistic healing, true holistic healing. It doesn't fucking exist. It's starting to, but it has not existed because patriarchal systems made sure none of this shit existed, so that you'll get a piece of something and then you're like, but I still have this pain, I still have this problem, I still have this over here, what's happening? And then you never fully heal because you can't. You literally can't when you are not treated in wholeness and oneness. Okay. So I'm letting you know that because it's so critical to comprehend what needs to happen with true healing. So, all of you, you are a physical body, you are an emotional body, you are a mental body, you are a spiritual body. You're a divine, formless being, a soul having a human experience. You are a multi dimensional, multi level, multi layered being. And you need a multi layered, multi level approach to healing everything. Okay. And of course, it's going to sound way more complicated than it actually is because we don't have systems set up that addresses everything at the deepest level. You'll have systems set up that address, the physical, and that's it. Or systems set up that help with, energetics aspect, and that's it. And then systems that are set up and resources you can use to go, do the psychological part, and because they're all severed and separated and segregated and they're not working together in one holistic format, it takes years and years and even decades to heal. Okay, that's part of what is changing because it has to now. And on a new earth, we need to offer tr- true holistic. I don't mean from the old patriarchal, this is holistic because it's herbs like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about oneness, what oneness actually means, looking at a being from the level of oneness and having practitioners and professionals working together who can see you from the level of oneness consciousness. Okay. So when you're doing your trauma work on an emotional, mental, energetic level, and then you also treat the physical body with that. The physical body has to be treated with certain methods and in certain ways to allow the physical body to start to relax and feel safe. Let me go back and give an example of veterans because there's a lot of really good and I give credit to people because they're doing wonderful things with veterans, have been for a very long time, like that's their unique, niche kind of thing. And they do things like adding plant medicine with their treatment. Here's the challenge. I am all for when used therapeutically from a place of oneness, that can be a beautiful addition to therapy. It is. It's remarkable. However, what is often missing is what I've already said, and I'm going to reiterate that. When the physical body, when you have PTSD and you've been through that level of trauma threat, when you are living in your nervous system is under such extreme threat to your life, and you then witness murder and rape, or what you may even had to do to somebody, to kill somebody, these horrific things that you experience. When you experience things like that, your nervous system, your body does not feel safe, period, fucking end. So if you take substances, I don't care if it's plant medicine, to force yourself to relax, the problem is it goes back over time to the lack of safety. Why? Because your body is physical. You have to do physical holistic treatments to the physical body to retrain the nervous system. And it doesn't mean that there are certain plant medicines that help do that, because there are. But I want you to hear you're not fully quote unquote healed or cured because you do plant medicine. I want you to understand the missing pieces of this and why people still struggle, even though they make great progress with one type of therapy or one type of technique. And that's a beautiful thing that you've made a lot of progress. But the physical vessel needs certain types of treatments with energetic treatment, with emotional treatment, coaching, therapy, trauma work. The physical body needs the trauma work as well. Do you understand? That's what I want you to get out of this. So, yes, I use veterans as an example. This is anybody who's been through trauma, anybody who's been exposed to sustained, micro traumas, negativity, stress, etc., to any degree, no matter how micro traumas to very severe things and anything in between. It's still trauma in the body, and your body develops patterns to move away from, brace itself, become rigid. So all this trauma, you could be completely healed emotionally and have not a care in the world, and you're very peaceful and loving, and nothing scares you at all anymore. You don't live in fear at all. That is not the same with your physical vessel. It still holds on. And while you are exposed to fear and scary things in the world, scary things around you in your neighborhood or your household or whatever, the physical body still reacts, the nervous system still reacts, your fascia still reacts in a fight, flight, freeze, bracing, rigidity, contraction. Do you understand? And all of those things need to be treated together simultaneously. Okay. Now, what are the methods and how do you do it? Well, this is the beautiful, wonderful, miraculous thing about coming from a place of oneness, healing from oneness consciousness. Okay. Universal ways of oneness, harmlessness and gentleness, compassion, patience, surrender, which means flow, unconditional love, harmony, etc., etc. When you add frequencies like this to energetics, to the energetics of it, and then you add that to some physical modalities and physical hands-on treatment using sacred touch, using certain tools and methods. The beautiful thing when you come from a place of oneness consciousness is it is customized and tailored, and it is unique to you, depending on what you need. And what you need today might not be what you need 6 months from now or a year from now as your physical body heals. Every layer of healing, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, you don't just heal. It's not black and white. You don't just, oh, I'm healing. There we go. There's the end goal. Got it. You're going to heal. It's in a circle. It's in a spiral. Some things are going to heal a little bit. Some things are going to heal very quickly. Other things are going to stay a very long time. There's no right or wrong to it. I want you to understand the underlying message here that I really want to get home, to hit home for you, is however your body needs to heal is however your body needs to heal. Emotionally, your inner child wounds, your trauma wounds, your programs, your patterning, your physical patterning. However, if you're getting a holistic treatment, every one of those layers is being treated, then however you heal and however quickly or however long it takes is divine perfection. It is the perfect timing for you. Okay. You're not going to heal all this stuff in a matter of a week or even a few months. But it doesn't have to take a decade. Do you understand? We surrender to making sure your body, every aspect of you, is getting what it needs. And as it heals, those needs will change. So certain modalities that are extremely important now, or modalities that, if I assessed a person, just to give an example, I would never use certain modalities right now. Well, because the assessment says no way. That would create more what the body perceives as trauma. It would activate the nervous system. It would activate the protective system of the fascia of the nervous system. It wouldn't relax it and allow it to feel safe enough. So sometimes certain methods and treatments for people, especially when it comes to hands-on treatment or modalities where there's physical touch involved in some way, when that's there and being offered, sometimes it feels like we're not doing very much. And that's because your nervous system, your fascia system, your protective system of your physical vessel isn't going to handle much because it literally won't allow it. So there's certain techniques with a person like that I would teach certain techniques that they start to do themselves where nobody would ever touch them. And then we would also do the other trauma work and energetic work and work with frequencies, et cetera, all the things we teach at Masters of Self University. And I'm laying this out because I really want you to understand this. When we are so drowning in the ignorance, in the brainwashing, the conditioning of what healing is, pop pills, that's not healing. Western medicine, therapists, physicians, that's not healing. None of it. They're not trained to actually heal fuck all. And it's not there's no judgment or an attack on the actual practitioners. It's the fucking system that quote unquote educated them. They didn't educate them in what healing is. That doesn't exist. Doesn't exist in Western medicine, that's for fucking sure. It doesn't exist in a patriarchal system. Does not exist. And it's why people walk around with their PTSD and their depression and their anxiety and they don't know how to heal it. And their nervous system cannot relax and calm down enough to be healed. So there's layers to healing the physical vessel with your trauma, energetically, emotionally, mentally. There's layers to healing the physical body that it has to begin to feel safe. And sometimes those techniques are very subtle. They're micro, they're gentle, and that can take a while for some people's bodies and systems. Do you understand? And then you get to do more and more and more over time. If you do a lot, like, okay, let's do all these things, you're coming from force. So some people, I'm a like rip the fucking Band-Aid off kind of person. Like go big or go home. Okay. When it comes to my own stuff. And I can handle a lot. Like, I don't care how let's go. Let's do it. I dive in deep end. I'll swim and get to the top somehow. Like that's just me personally for me, right? But that doesn't mean as the way of wisdom. This is why we use the 20 universal ways of oneness as frameworks for everything. Presence, when you are the way of presence and you are the way of wisdom, you can be present with, say, your physical body, the physical body's consciousness and the fascist consciousness, for example, of what that needs. Because I can go into some deep, dark pain, some shit, some trauma. Let's go. It doesn't mean that my body wants to do that. My body's done being brutalized and scared and intimidated and abused. Do you understand? So anybody who's been through a lot of trauma, that's your body is like, get the fuck out of here. I'm tired of being forced, tired of being forced upon, intimidated. I don't want to fucking do this. So the body will sometimes resist healing. It won't fucking do it. And you just need, as the way of wisdom, we use this as a framework, as the way of honoring where the body is at. Because it's okay that that's where the body's been through so much. That's the way of compassion. That's harmlessness and gentleness. We're not going to force. But let's see where you're at. Let's see where your body will receive. To what degree will your body receive? And based on where you're at, it's why treatment is individualized and unique to you. We will assess what the body will accept and what it won't. And what it won't, it's okay. It's just not ready. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why we use 20 universal ways of oneness as a framework. The way of patience, the way of surrender, flow with what the body needs. It's not ready. So we keep preparing the body and presenting things. So when the body is ready to receive, open to receiving certain types of healing, that's the way of presence. Okay. So we work with these frequencies. We do the psychological healing, the trauma healing, the energetic work, mental, emotional. We do all that stuff while we slowly offer certain things to the physical body so that when the physical body might only be able to receive teeny tiny little things and might not be able to be touched at all to receive any kind of sacred touch from a person outside of them. That's okay. We teach you techniques. I would teach you individual techniques, how to move the body in very gentle ways, very subtle little things that your mind would love to tell you that doesn't do shit. But that's the problem. We come from patriarchy. And there's the mind control and the brainwashing, so you'll never fucking heal. Do you see it? So While you're listening to this, I am going to ask you to come from Oneness and hit like and subscribe and follow and do all the things. Okay. I'm going to ask you for that because more people need to understand this level of education and need to receive as much as we can offer for free around here. So this is free. It's just an podcast episode. Share it, please. Okay. And thank you in advance for sharing this with other people and liking and commenting and doing all the things to help other people hear this. So as you hear this and as you listen to this, if you really start to understand everything that I'm teaching you in this episode today, you can understand that we need to do more when it comes to healing ourselves. A new earth, new healing systems that understand this level of what healing truly is and then offers that in its system of healthcare, offers that with its practitioners. You are a unique individual who needs something customized and individualized. Cookie cutter bullshit, popping you, prescribing fucking pills isn't healing. Talk therapy isn't healing. That's why you're stuck and trapped. And even those of you who try to go to more holistic approaches for things, which is wonderful, understand why all of you, like all aspects of you, aren't just healed overnight. Because it isn't one thing that you need. It's multiple things that you need. You're a multidimensional being. You need multiple things at one time. You also need the professionals and the experts who can read what's going on with you, and several of them sometimes together, right? Several of them together. So if I'm working with, just to give a simple example, if I'm working with a chiropractor, like I'm not a chiropractor, I'm not adjusting your spine. I'll not put my hands on you. I'm not trained to do that. I'm not putting my hands on you in that way, right? So, but a chiropractor can say to me, "Hey, physically, here's what's going on in this part of the spine and that part of the spine and that part of the spine. Here's where the pelvis is rotated. Here's right. You can tell me anatomically what's happening, right? So that's your part. That's your level of expertise. So I can see, I can be informed with this person. They can, with a chiropractor, they can tell me what's going on with your body in that sense. Got it? I can read the energies and the trauma patterns that are stuck. That's just part of what I have the ability to do. Whether the chiropractor's there or not, I can read the trauma patterns. The chiropractor comes in and says, and here's what it's doing anatomically, how it's changing the pattern of the pelvis, therefore the gait, therefore, the spine is getting, curved in this way, scoliosis is developed, whatever, domino effect, right? So they can tell me that. I can see where we need to address those patterns on an energetic, psychological, emotional trauma level. I can do that part. And then I can let you know, I can also read the consciousness of the body, the consciousness of the fascia, and I can let you know, yeah, and adjusting is great, but we need to prepare the physical body first for that adjustment, because the reason why your body's like, screw you, when it gets adjusted, pops right back out of place. It pulls it out of place because the body's trying to protect itself. It's holding up what it thinks is a protective pattern. So you putting it back in alignment, the body's going to be like, screw you, and pop it right back. It's going to pull it right back out. The fascia is going to pull it right back out because it thinks it's protecting you. Meanwhile, your fascia, your body's conscious, is actually causing you way more physical pain and more physical problems. But it doesn't understand that and doesn't know that. Okay. So when we talk about, if you hear somebody like me talk about holistic healing or healing from oneness, that is an example. Because if you're not addressing all of those things, you're not healing. Okay. I just want you to understand that. And if you have any major questions about that, feel free to put them in the comments. There's good questions that I can make a whole nother episode and explain and teach, I will. So ask your questions in the comments. If there's enough there for me to make another episode, I'll make another episode and teach. Okay. So ask your questions. But also allow yourself to really take this in and understand. Really do your best to understand as a multidimensional being, you have more than just one consciousness. It's so important to begin to grasp what that means, which is why, for example, we do trauma healing and we work in energetics. And then we also see where the fascist consciousness or the body's consciousness is in relation to that. And then we do physical hands-on modalities and healing and sacred touch stuff. We do things like that and we add that to it because that should be there from day one. Now, at Masters of Self University, we don't yet have our physical university where our treatment rooms, and that's part of what our goal is in 2027, that we're going to have that. So we'll have all these things together in one physical location that we can offer people, so we can do all of the healing stuff. But I want you to understand what's really going on and how this works and why some of you are doing remarkable things in elevating and healing emotionally, mentally. You're raising your level of consciousness. That will help your physical body, by the way. It absolutely will. But it isn't, you still need more, and for right now, do your best. Unfortunately, we can't offer you all of it right now yet. We will. That we're growing and expanding, and that's in our growth chart to what we will expand into, but we can't do it all at one time. That's all. We have to do it in stages. So in the meantime, do your best to understand your physical body and what it might need from you. Do your best to do some of the things and put some of the pieces together to the best of your ability, even though you can't just come into our clinic and get all of it at one time. But we will have that for you all in the future. So like I said, if you have some major questions about things, ask them in the comments, because like I said, I want to remind you that if there's enough content there that I can do another episode and answer all those questions, I will. Okay. So that's it for now. Understand the things that don't work, but also understand the things that do work, but aren't necessarily enough. We need a multi-leveled approach for humans to actually heal trauma. Trauma is not just psychological, it is also physical. Physical trauma, physical abuse is not just physical, it is also mental, emotional, psychological. Every type of trauma, no matter what it is also a spiritual trauma that impacts your soul. Soul level healing needs to be integrated into everything that you do. Multi-dimensional levels of healing need to be a part of what you do for yourselves and what we need to offer to people when we offer true healing from oneness. It is a multi-leveled approach. It is a multi-dimensional approach, a multi-layered approach. And it has the flexibility, this is the way of surrender, to change and adapt as you change, adapt, heal, and up-level. Then what we do to treat and change that treatment needs to change as you change. Do you understand? So that's the future of what healing is and will be on new earth practices, practices that come from the 20 universal ways of oneness, practices that come from oneness consciousness, which are the 20 ways of oneness. So we need to understand that so that people can come together and make it happen, and make it happen quickly. The medical system fucking sucks. It's a sick care system designed to make you sick, keep you unhealed, keep you in pain, not able to figure anything out of why you're still in pain, because none of it is actually oneness. None of it's holistic. Do you understand? So we have to change that. That's part of what we need to change. And we can't change it if you all don't understand what needs to be changed. Talk therapy is bullshit. It doesn't heal anything. Pumping you full of drugs never heals anything. We need a different approach. And that approach isn't one change or two changes. The entire way that we see, assess, and offer healing modalities and techniques and treatments to people. All of it needs to be completely changed, up leveled, and this approach to healing needs to exist. And it's only going to exist if we create it and if all of you participate in it. You have to demand it and you have to put your time, your energy, your resources towards that and unplug from a sick care system that doesn't allow, that prevents you from healing and keeps you trapped in it. So you have to do your part too. Do you understand? That's oneness. That's how we work together to make this happen. All right. So that's all for now. Hit that like and subscribe, comment below, ask your questions. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Bye for now.